Of late, I've been thinking about uh, my relationship with someone close and um, how it turned out to be or how it didn't turn out to be. And yeah, that's the reason for today's podcast. It's mostly for me than it is for you, but I'm doing this in the hope that it will help someone else. Okay, so welcome back to this week's podcast, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today's conversation is one of those hard conversations. Like, I'm just going to be real and raw, and I believe that it is necessary for healing. Why? Because we're talking about forgiveness today, and why it's not always the closure that we expect it to be. I don't know about you, but have you ever forgiven someone and then you just thought like, okay, sawa, nimemforgive, nimeachilia, so everything should be better now. And then maybe weeks later, months later, years later, you cross paths with this person, or you see someone or something that reminds you of this person, and then the pain comes back again, like it just lingers, or you still had questions, or you still felt so broken by seeing this person. Well, if that's you, I want you to know that you're not alone. I've been there, and yeah, I'm just here to tell you that you're not doing it wrong, right? Okay, so I'm a firm believer of you have to define a thing for it to make sense. So I'll start with defining what forgiveness is, right? Forgiveness is not a feeling. Okay, you can't feel yourself into forgiveness. Forgiveness, is a decision. It's something that you choose to do out of obedience to God. Like, not because someone deserves it, not because it's easy. Like, you choose to do it in obedience. If we look at stories in the Bible, like the crucifixion of Christ, in Luke chapter 23, around verse 34, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And he was able to make this prayer or say these words while he was literally on the cross. Like, he was bleeding, he felt abandoned, he had been mocked. Yani, there was no closure. He was just doing it in obedience. He was just showing love. So when God asks us to forgive, he's not usually asking us to wait until we feel okay. Like, in that process, when we are in it, when we are feeling all these other things that are contrary, we choose to forgive, right? Closure, on the other hand, is different, because closure is emotional understanding. It's when you're seeking the why behind the wound. Take, for example, you're in a relationship, the relationship doesn't work out, and then you guys decide to meet one last time just to, get the why. Why didn't it work out? What do you think I had done? What, is all conversations. I honestly don't get the point of that, but yeah, some people do. So yeah, it's like when you meet this person to seek an apology that never came while you're in the relationship. It's like that final conversation that makes things make sense before sasa, like, mseme meachana for good, or but you see, the hard thing with closure is that it often depends on the other person. Like, you have to meet the both of you, and in a healthy way, and then sort of explain things away. And the truth is that doesn't always happen, because some people will never admit that what they did was wrong. Some people might never change, and some people, after whatever happened, they are no longer in your life. So, like, if you wait to tie your healing to this person, to getting that closure, you're going to stay stuck, right? And sometimes maybe you've already decided, okay, I'm going to forgive this person. So you say you've forgiven them, but you still find yourself hurting, and then you think, maybe what happened, or you wonder, like, did I really forgive this person, because I'm still feeling hurt even after I decided to forgive them. I'm just here to reassure you, to tell you that it is possible that yes, you have forgiven someone, and yes, you're still feeling the pain. Why? Because our emotions usually, like, they need time to catch up with the decision that you've made. There's something that our pastor said sometime back, I think last month, and he said that don't feel your way into an action, because sometimes the feeling might never come. Like, don't wait to feel the need to read your Bible for you to read, because like your flesh is so strong, you might never feel like reading the Bible. You get? So don't feel your way into actions, but sometimes, most times, act yourself into the feeling. Like, pretend, do it scared, do it when you don't want to, like, fight the flesh, right? So our feelings, our emotions usually have to take some time to catch up to our decisions, because like wounds, they still need time to heal. Even after you've cleaned it, umeanguka sawa, you've cleaned the wound, you've dressed it, it still needs time to heal. So forgiveness is like opening a door to that healing, but the healing doesn't always come instantly. So sometimes there's some grief you haven't really fully processed. Maybe it's betrayal, disappointment, anger, and it doesn't, feeling those feelings doesn't cancel your forgiveness. It's just because you're human, you have your flesh and your soul, your feelings and emotions, right? So how exactly do we move forward without that closure? I think it has a lot to do with faith. If we look at Romans from chapter 12, around verse 19, it says that we shouldn't take revenge, that we should leave room for God's wrath. Like, vengeance is the Lord's. That means you don't have to carry the burden of justice. And I know saying that is hard. 2 weeks ago, maybe from the time you're listening to this, we had the maandamano on June 25th. And I know, as a generation, as people who feel, we have been victims, right? And most times we want to carry out the justice ourselves. We are seeking for justice, but we want to carry it out ourselves. But when it comes to forgiveness, you don't have to carry the burden of justice. Like, you have to have faith that God saw it and He is faithful. Okay? But it also means that you set boundaries. Why? Because forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to reconcile with this person. Okay? It doesn't mean that now we sit and pretend that nothing happened. No. You can forgive someone and still say, hey, I love you, but I can't allow you to access me again. Like, I love you, but I draw the line here because I don't want you to hurt me again, right? And seeing that your peace will not come from the apology. Your peace should come from knowing that you've done your part, you did what God asked you to do, and you've trusted God with the rest. Sindio? And I started by saying, I'm in that season, and I know it's hard. I know it can feel lonely. Like, sometimes it feels like you're doing all the emotional work and the other person is just moving on like nothing happened. I'm here to hold your hand. And I want to remind you that your obedience is not in vain. Okay, it's not weakness. It actually shows a lot of strength. Okay, it's not you showing that you approve of what was done to you or to someone else, but that forgiveness gives you freedom from being controlled by whatever happened. Okay, you don't need full closure to heal. I'll say that again. You don't need full closure to heal. You need God, you need truth, and you need time. Okay, so if you're in that space today, this week, this month, where you're forgiving someone or you've forgiven someone and you're still healing, take heart. You're on the right track. Sawa. You're not stuck. It's just part of the growth. Okay? Yeah. Today's was a really heartfelt one, but if this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever forgiven someone without getting that closure? Feel free to comment on what helped you process it. You can send a message if you'd like. You can send me a voice note, leave a comment, anything. Okay. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to follow the podcast on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and yeah, I have a lot more episodes coming your way every week rather. Okay, so until next time, take care of your heart, and yeah, remember, healing is a journey. It's not a one-time event. I love you. Bye.